Hello, I'm Marvin Pierce with Pierce's Cow Dogs. I'm here today interviewing Rick Beaudry with Beaudry's Custom Woodworking. And I sold him a dog about 2 years ago named Maggie, and she's by my Hanging Tree Sport, and out of a female I had as a cattle master we called Chick. Rick bought this pup from him. I think he picked her up, she was 6-7 weeks old. And he took her home and started working her, or started raising her up to work, and she got about a year old, and he brought her back up to the house to train her, and he's from here in Newburgh, Oregon, right by me. So we started working this dog, and she just wanted to kill everything on the property. I mean, she just had no control, and I was really excited because that's the type of dog I like to try to train. And Rick was semi-retired at the time, so he was coming up quite a bit working her, and every time we got a chance, we'd work this dog, and I didn't know what we'd ever get done with her because Rick had never worked a cow dog. And now you can see she's 2 years old, and I mean, she's no finished dog by no means, but she's just really a super nice dog. She's got a lot of bite to her, and Rick can get his cows in when he wants. And so we got her to where she'll listen now, she'll down when he asks her, and that's what Rick wanted to do, was just to be able to have a dog that he could enjoy and spend time with, working his cows, and get them in any time he wants. So, how many cattle do you normally have here, Rick?
Anywhere from about 15 to 25 head.
Okay. And I remember the day I met you, you told me you wanted a pup, and you wanted to raise it up and train it to bring in your cows because you was having quite a bit of trouble with getting them in when you wanted them. That's me, the biggest thing I found is with cattle is normally when you want them in, you bring them in with a bucket of grain or hay or your horse or whatever, but it's always those times when you need one in right now that you can't catch them. So how long did it take you in the fast to get your cows in?
Oh, anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, depending on if the boys showed up or if they were hungry, if it was in the fall of the year or the spring of the year. You know, if they were out eating grass, it'd take longer. If it was fall of the year when I'm feeding, they know they come in for feeding. So
I noticed a while ago when you brought them in with your dog there, I helped you a little bit, just tried to give you a little bit of advice and pointers on working the dog, because all of us, I think, are still learning how to work dogs. But I noticed it took you probably about 5 minutes to get them in. It seemed like it was a lot easier.
Oh, now it's a whole lot easier. But with Maggie, I go out and bring them in. I don't have to pour up a sack of grain out on the ground to get them to come in. She does the work for me.
Now, how is it as far as being more enjoyable to bring a cat in?
Oh, it's a lot more. There's none of the yelling, screaming going on. With the boys helping me, it was always a little bit of a challenge to get them in the right position. The cows didn't respect the kids like they do the dog. The dog, you position her, they won't go towards her. They'll keep moving. Right. And she'll bring them in. There's no yelling or anything like that.
Now, what about the training? I know a lot of times one of the big things with the video that we're trying to make now is I'd like to get it to people that you don't have to, buy a $5,000 or $10,000 dog. Not saying that you can't or you shouldn't, but you don't have to for a small guy like yourself that just has a few head of cows and you want a dog for a friend. How is she around family?
Oh, she's great. I've got 5 grandkids, and I can leave her out with them, and I don't have to worry about her, nipping at them or giving them, biting. She's a family pet, and she's not working the cows.
Now she'll just take off one hat and put on another one.
Oh, yeah. Just as soon as you bring her away from the cows, she's real intended for the cows when you're with the cows. But as soon as you bring her away, bring her over to the house, she's just like one of the other pets around the place.
All right, Rick. Now, I know one day I was talking to you out here about your calves and cows, and you told me you just grabbed Maggie and ran out and told your wife you was going to go bring the cows in, and you weren't gone 10 minutes and you was back in the house, and she thought you'd had some kind of problems.
Yeah, it was just shocking to me how quick we went out the far end of the field, and just I walked out, kept off to one side, and Maggie we just walked them in, and it was just. And normally, if I'd gone out there by myself, I'd had about 3 of them that would have went through the gate, and the rest would have turned around and headed off the other direction. I've been running back and forth. Where with Maggie, she keeps them kind of balled up together. If one takes off, she'll go out and bring them back in.
Now, do you find your cows are tamer, more gentle now that you use a dog?
Oh yeah, they stay together. They don't take off running. They'll stay more of a group. They don't. Where before these aren't, these cows aren't hand fed or anything like that. They're not tame cows by no means.
Right.
But they are to the point now where they'll stay in a group. They don't take off running from you. Because they're checking out to see where that dog's at. They want to stay close.
I was noticing a while ago when you kicked them back out of the corral there, we took them out, or you did. We put them back in again, And whenever you let them out of the corral, they didn't run off like the old days. Normally, if you open the gate for a cow to get out, they take off hard as they can run to the back corner of the field.
Yeah, before I got the dogs, they take off that far corner. You knew as soon as they got out, that's where they were going to go, just to get as far away from you as you could. Now, I think it's because of the way the dog works them, and they're looking around to make sure where that dog's at, and they're not going to just be wild.
Now, if you would have done anything different about this whole thing, what would you have done? Got a dog 30 years ago?
Yeah. If I'd known it was going to work that well, because my philosophy was I wasn't going to get a dog until I could absolutely work with it all the time, and that's when I talked to you that time. Things were going well in the business. I was kind of semi-retired, knew I'd have time to spend with a dog. I thought to get a good dog, you need to work them all the time to keep them a good dog. Well, Maggie, we might go out once a month in the wintertime, and then summer a little bit more as far as working, but it's not an everyday thing.
So I noticed with you and her, the majority of the time, it seems to me like it's a matter of, I know because I train dogs all the time as a hobby, and I sell a few dogs once in a while. You don't ride horses. You just do all your cattle work on foot.
I do everything off foot. I'm kind of scared of horses, so it's kind of I've always been on foot when we've done them, or take the four-wheeler out. We might try that, but that usually ends up in a wreck, and I get off and have to herd them in by hand anyway. So it's just for anybody who's got a few head of cattle and wants a nice pet, I get one of these cattle dogs.
Yeah. Now, do you let her in your front of your truck or in your house?
Oh yeah, she comes in the back porch of the house. She comes in my truck once in a while in the front. Usually, now that it's wintertime, I keep her in the back. I've got a place. I've got a chain in back. I don't let her run loose. Or she's that or a kennel box.
Yeah, that's one of the big points that we've always tried to make with these dogs. My wife has one, and it sleeps by her bed every night. It has for the last 6-8 years, and it'll work cows till it dies. And a lot of people try to say you can't have a pet that works, and I think you've proved that wrong with Maggie.
Oh yeah, well, with my the grandkids could be out on the porch. I've got grandson's 9 years old, got one down that's a year old, and I don't worry about any of them with the dogs. They'll go out there and they'll feed them, and Maggie's just as good as any lab or anything else as far as a pet.
Right.
But then she can turn around and just turn it on and become a real cow dog when you put her with cattle.
Okay. All right, well, thanks, Rick. Appreciate your time.